Hey everybody, it's the Critter Dude and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, I'm the Critter Dude and welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I'll be setting up an aquarium for breeding convict cichlids. To start off with, I've got the aquarium. The tank I'll be using is a standard 10-gallon aquarium with a lid and light. Also, you might notice that there are some hard water stains on the sides and the back. And you can't really see them when the water is filled up, but that's just from being used for several years. Now, I'm going to show you how I set up the tank. This is the substrate I'll be using. It is a black sand, and I think it'll look really good in the tank. Now I'm going to put the sand in. Now I'm going to be smoothing it out. After I stopped recording the last clip, I realized that there was still some sand in the bottom of the bucket I was using to hold the sand. And that's why it looks a little watery in the bottom, because I had to use some water to get the rest of the sand out of the bucket. Now I'm going to spread it all out. Now that I got all of the sand smoothed out, I'm going to start adding some of the decoration. The first decoration that I'm going to put in is this helmet. I think I'm going to put it about right here. It's a good hide for the cichlids, and they could also lay their eggs on it. Next, I'm going to put in this green artificial plant. I'm going to put this behind the helmet. Or actually, I think I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it like right here. Now I'm going to add in this green plant. It's a little taller. I'm going to have this in the corner behind the helmet. The next decoration I'm going to put in is this shipwreck decoration. I think I'm going to put it right here. And the last decoration I'm going to be using is this pink and green plant. It's another artificial plant. I'll put it right there. And all of these plants will look better when I add water to the tank, because they won't be laying down, they will be floating up in the water, and they'll be easier to move around and get to where I want them to be. Now for filtration. For filtration, I'm going to be using this small sponge filter. I am going to have it in here about right here. I'm going to trying to get it down in the sand towards the middle area so that there is water flow throughout the tank. Now for the heater. So I've got a heater. This is a little aquarium heater. It's adjustable. I believe it's a Tetra heater, but I don't know. I've had it for a long time and I don't remember the actual size of it. But it works great for this aquarium size and will keep the water warm like it needs to be. And I think that's about it for putting the stuff in. Now it's time to add water. I got the water changer in that I used to add water to all my tanks. Now I'm going to turn it on and get it filling. Now that the water is in and the sand is fixed and the decorations are fixed, after being pushed around by the water coming in, I think it's time for the next step. Now I'm going to plug in the heater and the sponge filter. The first one I'm going to plug in though is the heater. Also, a quick reminder to always let your heater sit in the tank to get adjusted to the water temperature, because if you don't and you have it in really cold water and you turn it on, they can shatter. But the water I put in here is already warm, so I think the heater is already kind of adjusted and can probably just be turned right on. Now the heater is plugged in, next is going to be the sponge filter. Now I'm going to plug in the air pump that powers the sponge filter. Now I'm going to open up the control valve on the air pump and turn the sponge filter on. The sponge filter is actually working better than I thought it was going to. The next part is going to be putting in the chemicals. The chemicals I'll be adding are Cichlid Prime, Cichlid Stability, Cichlid Amguard, and last but not least, Cichlid Neutral Regulator. And I'll be adding all of the chemicals at the same time. I measured out all of the chemicals in the right amounts that I will be using and put them all in a cup together inside of some tank water from another tank. So I took a little bit of water out of one of my tanks that I've had running for a long time, and I put it into a bucket, and then I squeezed one of the sponge filters into it to get some of the bacteria off of the sponge filter. The sponge filter was also getting a little clogged, so it needed cleaned anyways. So I decided to take some of that bacteria and dirty water from the sponge filter in the bucket and add it into this tank too, which will speed up the cycling process. And I put that in a cup with the chemicals, so I'm going to put all of the chemicals and the water with the bacteria all in at the same time. And as you can see, it clouded up the water, but it will settle after a while, and the filter will suck in all of the beneficial bacteria. Now that the tank is all set up and ready to go, I'm going to let it cycle for a while before I put in the fish. And then I will do a video when I add the fish in. I will be testing the water daily and watching the water quality, and then when it's ready for fish, then I will make a separate video when I add the fish to the tank. So I think that's about it for this video. I hope you liked watching me set up this tank, and if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, if you could leave it down in the comments down below. Now if you have any suggestions for any upcoming videos, if you could leave them down in the comments down below. Also, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, if you could also leave those down in the comments down below. And don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Until next time, take care.